He's old.
We always do that.
Where is fact checker Mel Dan?
Roll call.
Jen.
Frank. And we're Dillos Dig.
You guys, we got to see The Party in concert.
It's been 6 days since the Party reunion concert at the House of Blues Orlando, and when we recorded the Theme Park Thursday podcast following that concert, I really couldn't put together the words, the feelings, all the things. It's 6 days later, I still can't, so I'm just gonna stream of consciousness this all the way through.
So I think I may have done a tweet, Instagram post, all the social media things, that this concert is 30 years in the making. Not only for them, but for us too. We have spoken plenty that the Mickey Mouse Club and the Party were a big bonding experience between Frank and I. And we're 7.5 years apart in age, and yet this was a big common ground. I mean, Disney overall is a big common ground. It was our second home. We went there for vacation each year. And to see and know of something being filmed at Disney, and there were other kids, and they were all so talented, it just made it that much cooler. And so if you were to go back in time and tell those kids, hey, in 30 years, you're going to see some of them on stage performing, we'd be like, okay. But we did. I still can't fully believe that it happened, and it was such a whirlwind. You know, we flew in Friday night, the concert was on Saturday night, we flew home Sunday morning, and I still don't know that I fully processed it, but I will try to put it into words, and I will try not to get emotional while doing so.
You know, this month marks 30 years. It's been 30 years since the second album of the Party, In the Meantime, In Between Time, was released. And seeing the concert on Saturday night was very much this other bookend of the time where I was just very dedicated to following the lives of the performers in the group. Because there's two things I equate to becoming a performer myself, and the two biggest influences: the first influence, the citizens of Hollywood at the Disney MGM Studios, and then the I'll say it, the 5 members of the Party, because as I turned 16 and 17, it was those first 2 Party albums and how they grew as performers from their time on the all-new Mickey Mouse Club that I was drawn to. There was something in both those cases, in both the Citizens of Hollywood case and in the case of the members of the Party, there was something in the performers personally that extended beyond what you're used to seeing in actors or musicians or performers. There was just something more that was connecting with me as an audience member, with the audiences you were seeing live. It was just a different thing entirely. And so to see that for the first time ever in concert form, as I got to do, it was this full, complete circle in my mind. And to really see it in that shared experience, that performer-audience experience.
We did a little YouTube series. We have a playlist here from a couple of years ago where Frank and I broke out our old VHS tapes of the Mickey Mouse Club, sat in front of a green screen, and just talked about the episodes. And one thing we talked a lot about was the high energy open they would have. Every single episode, they would come out ready to go. They were happy and excited and, high-fiving the audience and just ready to sing and dance and perform and entertain the audience at home, entertain the audience in person. They found a way to connect to their audience. They brought you into this world where anything can happen, which was one of the days, Anything Can Happen Day. Seeing Tony and Jennifer come out to open the show was already amazing. Like, oh my God, look at that. Like, I already can't believe it. And I kind of went into the show wondering if I would be emotional at all, which is funny because I'm emotional about everything, even though I try to pretend like I'm not. But, you know, I think in that moment, it was very surreal still. Like, I can't believe this is happening. And then once the party came out, high energy open, ready to go. That audience was ready to go. We have all been waiting 30 years for this. The emotions were building. My eyes were welled. And to see them so on point, have that first performance draw you in the same way they were always able to do when you're watching through a screen was just so awesome to see in person. And at the end of the performance, they all got emotional. That's it. If I see someone cry, it's all over. I'm done.
I mean, I'm not surprised that every song that I was most connected to was, you know, gave me the goosebumps and the chills and everything else. I called the party's three albums, the first three albums before the final album, as kind of this 3-act structure where you got the introduction and you got the exposition of who the party was as individual performers in that first album and how they were together. And then in the second album, it kind of progressed and grew and went on this rising action, as it were, Club MTV and In My Dreams, peaking in the top 40 of the Billboard charts and everything else. And then this third act, Free, where it really exploded and they were able to grow and branch out in different ways that were unexpected. So Free was a huge number for me on Saturday night at the House of Blues concert. Peace, Love, and Understanding. I mean, I still listen to that even before the last year and a half or so when the music was introduced digitally. Peace, Love, and Understanding was something I always would crank if it came up in my shuffle. And you know, it's just, there's just so much in the words, and there's so much that the performers, Jason and Dee Dee and Damon and Albert and Tiffany on the recordings put. You can hear it coming out of the music and the words. It just something that spoke to me as it did 30 years ago when I was a teenager, figuring out that I wanted to connect to audiences. It really spoke to me in that way.
That room was full of love and positive energy and good vibes, which is something we all need a lot of right now. We need more of that in the world, in the country. It was also September 11th, so it meant so much to be there on this night in a room like that. Frank and I have joked since that we didn't look at each other during the whole concert, and I think it's because we were both feeling a lot in that moment. We were both feeling the full circle-ness of it all. You know, we started this podcast almost 4 years ago, just about 4 years ago, and because we love Disney so much, because it's our shared experience, because it's the way we grew up, and it was always the positive light in our lives and, you know, our second home for our family. And so to have that journey kind of lead us here is pretty amazing. So I don't think either of us wanted to look at each other because, you know, we wanted to play it cool, like we weren't so emotional over the whole thing.
So here I am now speaking for this amount of time, stream of consciousness. I thought I was going to start breaking down song by song by song by song. But really what it boils down to is that the concert was everything to me. It had all the things. My favorite songs of the group, a little nostalgia with some covers, just the spirit and connectivity with the audience. It was really a perfect night.
Having this experience, seeing how much happiness they brought to the audience and to each other, and it all felt so genuine. And that is always how it felt. It's always how the Mickey Mouse Club felt. It's always how the party felt. Genuine and real. And these were real people with real talent coming out, doing what they love. And to see them still doing that 30 years later, coming back together and like they haven't skipped a beat, was so amazing to see and so amazing to be part of. And I'm thankful that we got to be a part of it.
As I did on the Theme Park Thursday podcast, I'm going to manifest these 6 letters. Just put it out there in the universe. MMC, NYC, and we're gonna need a little party concert here in New York City at some point. I'm just saying it out there. I'm putting it out there in the universe. I think the universe will speak to us.
My hope is that this is the start of something more. We want more of this. We need more of this. And I hope that it continues. I hope that we can see them again sooner rather than later in concert. I hope we hear more new music from them since they just released their new single last week. I hope we get more experiences like this. There is such an audience for it, and I can't wait to see where it goes. And I can't wait to be a part of more experiences like the one at the House of Blues last week.
We all need this more in our lives. More people need to be brought back to these feelings.
Thank you to everyone that put in the time and the work just in creating an event like this. I know there are more events all weekend that we couldn't be a part of that take just so much dedication and hard work and the logistics and figuring everything out. And Frank and I have been in the event world, so we get it. And so to see it all come to life and to know all the hard work that went into it, we are so appreciative of everyone behind an event like this, whether we saw you on stage or you were behind the scenes. So thank you for doing what you did last weekend. I know we're not the only ones that appreciated it, and I know we're not the only ones that are excited to see more.